It's the forgotten virtue. In a world that screams, "Look at me," in a culture that worships the self and glorifies exposure, the Catholic Church quietly whispers a powerful secret about beauty, dignity, and holiness. It's a secret that has been pushed aside, ridiculed, and misunderstood. It's a virtue that is almost never spoken about, even in our own churches, for fear of sounding judgmental or old-fashioned. It's time we talked about modesty. The very word modesty can make people uncomfortable. For many, it conjures up images of drab, unattractive clothing, of a joyless and repressive attitude toward the human body. It's often seen as a set of rules imposed on women to control them. But this is a complete distortion of the beautiful and liberating truth of Catholic teaching. True modesty is not about hiding the body because it is bad. It is about clothing the body with dignity because it is sacred. It is a virtue that applies equally to men and to women, and it goes far deeper than just our choice of clothing. It is an interior attitude of the heart that affects our dress, our speech, and our behavior. It is the guardian of the mystery of the person. To understand modesty, we first have to understand what the human body is. In the Catholic view, your body is not just a container for your soul that you can use however you want. It is not just a biological machine. Your body is an integral part of who you are. The Catechism teaches that the human person is a body-soul unity. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. It was created by God, redeemed by Christ, and is destined for resurrection on the last day. It is sacred. Modesty is the virtue that protects this sacredness. The Catechism defines modesty as refusing to unveil what should remain hidden. It is a virtue that guides how one looks at others and behaves toward them in conformity with the dignity of persons and their solidarity. This isn't just about sexuality. It's about recognizing the profound mystery of the other person. A modest person does not put everything on display, either physically or emotionally. They have a sense of reserve, a quiet dignity that inspires respect. Now, let's talk about the most obvious application of modesty, which is in our clothing. Our culture tells us that our value comes from our external appearance, and especially from our sexual appeal. Men and women are both pressured to dress in a way that is provocative, that draws attention to their bodies as objects of desire. The fashion industry, the media, and social media are all constantly pushing the boundaries, encouraging more and more exposure. The Church's teaching on modesty in dress is a radical, countercultural rebellion against this objectification. Modesty in dress is about choosing clothing that does not intentionally provoke lust in others or draw undue attention to oneself. It is about dressing in a way that respects your own dignity and the dignity of those around you. The purpose of clothing, from a Catholic perspective, is twofold: to cover our nakedness and to adorn the body in a way that reflects our inner dignity. Immodest clothing, on the other hand, reduces the person to their body parts. It sends a message that says, "Look at my body, not at me." It can be a source of temptation for others, leading them into the sin of lust. Jesus had a very strong warning about this: the sin of scandal. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depth of the sea. We have a responsibility not to be a near occasion of sin for our brothers and sisters. The atmosphere of a place can be palpably different based on how people are dressed. Imagine walking into a church where people are dressed with dignity and reverence, versus a place where provocative clothing is the norm. The first inspires prayer and respect. The second creates an environment of distraction and objectification. But modesty is not a one-size-fits-all uniform. It is guided by the principles of appropriateness for the occasion, culture, and context. What is modest for the beach is not modest for the holy mass. The key is the interior disposition. Am I dressing to glorify God and respect others, or am I dressing to glorify myself and attract lustful attention? This question is for both men and women. Men can be immodest too by wearing clothing that is overly tight, revealing, or designed to project an image of vanity and arrogance. Modesty for a man often involves a sense of sobriety and dignity in his appearance and behavior. However, modesty goes beyond clothing. It also applies to our speech and our actions. Modesty in speech means avoiding crude language, dirty jokes, and conversations that are sexually suggestive or that gossip about others. It is about using our words to build people up, not to objectify or tear them down. A modest person does not share intimate details of their life with everyone. They have a sense of discretion and reserve. Modesty in action means behaving with a certain grace and dignity. It means avoiding behavior that is loud, attention-seeking, or overly familiar. It is the virtue that governs our physical affection, ensuring that it is appropriate for the relationship and the situation. In essence, modesty is the bodyguard of chastity. Chastity is the virtue that helps us to integrate our sexuality into our whole person, to love others with a pure and undivided heart. Modesty protects this purity by creating a climate of respect and dignity. It keeps our focus on the whole person, not just their sexual value. In our world, this message is deeply unpopular. To speak of modesty is to be accused of slut-shaming or body-shaming. But the exact opposite is true. The culture of immodesty is what truly shames the body. It reduces the sacred mystery of the human person to a consumer product to be marketed and sold. It places an incredible burden on people, especially the young, to conform to an artificial and often degrading standard of physical attractiveness. The Catholic virtue of modesty is a declaration of freedom. It is the freedom to be seen as a person, not an object. It is the freedom from the constant pressure to be sexually appealing. It is the freedom to relate to others on the basis of their inherent dignity, not their physical appearance. It is a quiet rebellion that reclaims the sacredness of the human person. It is not about being drab. It is about being dignified. It is not about hating the body. It is about honoring it as a temple of God. It is a forgotten virtue, but it is one that we desperately need to recover if we are to build a culture of life and love. If you find mysteries like this compelling, consider following for more content that illuminates the eternal truths of the Church.